Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Patient First Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bryan Laskin, and we have an incredible guest today, Elijah Desmond, who is the founder of not just Dental Pitch, but Smiles at Sea, the Dental Festival, and Dentistry's Got Talent. He's been innovating conferences for almost a decade now, and is even doing a vendor conference. I would think one of the most positive people in dentistry and just one of the best connectors in dentistry. Elijah, thanks so much for being here, my friend.
Man, thank you for having me. What a pleasure. And it was just amazing to have you and your personality and your presence at Dental Pitch last month in New Orleans. So thanks for having me.
Well, what a great event. I mean, it was that you had some great innovative companies in dentistry who are looking for investment, talking, and and the panelists were just awesome. I mean, it was great. And so, I mean, it's just one of the ways that you're innovating in dentistry, and it's sorely needed, like that alone, right? So I do some venture capital work with a couple of venture capital funds in dentistry, and there's just not enough. I mean, I think we in dentistry are like a relatively big industry, but we get overlooked when in broader healthcare. So these companies need that, and that's just like in my little corner of the industry. You're bringing some greatness, but you do that across all the things that you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I think a big thing that I think of when you say all that is the word exposure. A lot of these companies, they don't need just dollars, they need exposure. And we've been able to perfect getting them noticed on all these platforms, right? So I think we reached like 110,000 views and impressions, not like paying for sponsored ads, but like just organically with like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So like all those companies got crazy exposure and now they know about them. So not only are they potentially going to be funded, but they got a lot of exposure too. So
what I mean, what do you attribute that to? Because I think there's a lot of people out there in the, myself included, who are screaming into the void of the social media platforms, and it's very noisy, but you know how to cut through it. I mean,
yes.
Like, and that's anybody who's listening, by the way, whether you're a vendor to the dental industry, whether you are a dentist, whether you're a DSO, whether you're a dental patient, you're probably looking to increase your exposure. So, and I'm kind of putting you on we didn't talking about this before,
Yeah.
so I'm putting you on the spot, my friend, but you're the master. So what do you attribute your ability to do that to?
How do you cut through the noise and have omnipresence? Essentially, I can tell you that it's very straightforward, and I won't talk over anybody's heads. It's very easy. So essentially, it's a couple things. So it's the algorithm on all of these platforms, and it's also the people that are involved in the event. So at the event, I had something called the Dental Socials, and it's like the Grammy Awards for dentistry. And there's 10 different types of influencers in dentistry. There's speakers, there's podcasters like yourself, there's DSO influencers, there are consultants, and there's authors like yourself. Look at you, multi-influencers. And then there's 5 different types of social media influencers: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. We basically did a event called the Dental Socials, and we got votes and got 5 nominees for each category. All those people came to the dental festival. Well, they tagged the dental festival, attracting people to our page. So what did they tag? They put the @ sign, tag the dental festival. Now we have all these eyeballs on our page, right? And when we have those eyeballs on our page, we put out really cool content. Ta-da. That's it.
That's it. Well, that's not just that it. I mean, it's a genius strategy, but being able to pull it all off, it takes a tremendous amount of effort and work and just doing your what you do. So thanks for doing it. I mean, it's just a great service to the industry and to everybody that you showcased. Every one of those people benefited that were at the dental festival, that were part of the socials, right?
It was awesome because like everybody lives, a lot of them, most of them live in their own bucket, right? Like tech space lives in tech, like Instagram world lives in Grammy world, right? Facebook land lives in Facebook land. DSO space lives in the DSO space. The speakers are in their speaker world. So it's like very rare do you get all of these forces to meet each other, And it's
Mhm.
like strangers meeting and hugging and taking photos. And what happens is they post that stuff on social media. I happen to be in the middle of getting tagged at the dental festival, right? So it's just awesome to be the connector and to bring these humans together. And we're all people, right? And we're all people, and we happen to use social media nowadays, and podcasts and books and those type of things to tell stories and to uplift each other and to empower one another. So it's pretty awesome to be in the space in 2023. So
Yeah, well, and you're the master of it. And I think part of that is due to, we talked a little bit about your abundance mentality and how, you know, for example, having a festival where you showcase other festivals, right? Other people don't really do that. And so, I think that in dentistry, I talk to dentists who feel like the other like another practice is their competition. And I'm like, there's no way that that's the reality, right? The
right.
reality is that your competition is soda companies, tobacco companies, people who are trying to destroy oral health versus everybody. We're all on the same side trying to improve people's oral health. I guess that's a statement. Is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, I mean, I put it like this. I would agree with the abundance mindset. That statement that you just made, it can be taken many different ways, but I would agree with your mindset, which is abundance mindset. And I will tell you, there is a lot of people that looked at me sideways when I said I want to promote your conference, right? And by the way, there's only one dental festival. However, if somebody said I want to create a dental festival, you know what I would say? Let's do it. How about a Minnesota dental festival?
Hmm.
Instead of sending them a cease and assist that says, you can't use the dental festival. I trademarked that. You can't, no. So a lot of people spend their time going and putting people down because they have a scarcity mindset. And it happens in our industry all the time, and it's sad, right? Or they worry about what their competition is doing instead of going to their competition and saying, let's be friends. And what do you do really good? Let me show you what I do really good. And having the iron sharpens iron concept and the 1 + 1 = 11 concept. See, at my conference, I had Brian with Dykema, Amankor with Women in DSO, right? I had Greg Tice with Seattle Study Club, Matt Steele with Smile Source. We had Florida Dental Association. We had Utah Dental Association. I mean, the list, Chicago Midwinter. And we're marketing their conferences the whole time. And people are saying, why would you do that? Well, why not? Why
Yeah.
not? There's so many people in our industry. And guess what? I don't live in Chicago. I live in Florida. My event was in New Orleans, right? And like there's enough to go around, and it's about uplifting the entire industry. And some people don't get that. And that's just how I've always operated. And listen, my conferences always grow, and I'm still marketing everybody else. And I think it's super important. Everybody should have that mindset, but people are too busy worried looking around the corner at their competition. And I just don't believe in this. This is not how I roll.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because in the software space where I spend a lot of my time, right? What I've seen is that there's always new software companies coming to dentistry, and I've noticed the ones that are looking to collaborate, that are have an abundance mindset, that don't really think about like, oh, are you in competition with me? They stick around, right? And the
Yeah.
ones that are like, oh no, we have special sauce and nobody else can have it, and we don't partner, right? They go away, no matter how big a splash they make, no matter how much PE money they get to have like,
Yep.
4 booths in a conference, right? Things
Yep.
eventually go. And
Yep.
so it's, I mean, yes, having an abundance mindset, I think, can help you grow. But I also feel the other way. I feel like a scarcity mindset in a lot of ways, it makes you shrink. Like it
Yeah.
makes you, and I've seen that happen.
Yeah, no, I've seen it too. I mean, there's so many people that have a scarcity mindset, unfortunately, and I've watched their growth, and it's not been growth. They've been in the same space. They've been in the same space, or it was a quick grow and then it was a fall. And I've watched people with an abundance mindset, and they just keep multiplying because at the end of the day, you get a whole bunch of allies, right? Like I'm not ever worried about building the Elijah empire. I'm worried about building that empire and that empire and that empire and that empire. And guess what? I got bridges to that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I'll never burn a bridge ever. In the whole industry, I'll never burn one. I got roads, I got highways everywhere, and I helped build those. And it's an amazing feeling to know, let's look at the horizon and say, like, man, I helped that. And I'm not worried about me. I can be in a little cottage. But no, just looking in the horizon and know, like, I was a part of that. I was a part of that. I was a part of that. And man, good job, guys. Good job. And I can sit back here in my little cottage with some sunglasses, drinking a pina colada, and be happy and looking at them win. I'm good. That's all I need.
That's great. I wish I could say I haven't burned any bridges. I haven't burned any bridges today. Let's put it that way. I sometimes, because I like to take on things and fight, and so sometimes that doesn't come out without burning some bridges. But so I want to highlight something else that I think is you are relatively unique in the industry too, right? Which is a lot of people talk about being authentic, right?
Yeah.
And you are one of the most authentic people in dentistry, right? And so everybody knows who you are because you are you and nobody else, right? So I don't really have a question other than, like, what is that like? Because it's obviously a huge part of what you are. So what does that show? How does that show up for you? What do you think about authenticity? And especially, you can't really talk about social media platforms. Somebody's going to talk about authenticity, but it's your focus on authenticity is unique, I think.
Yeah. First off, I'm going to tell you that it wasn't easy. So don't let me sit here and say, oh, it was easy. Nope. Wasn't easy. I just got goosebumps telling you that because I have memories. And I put accidentally my tattoo arm in the air. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, Brian. I'm going to tell you, when I came into this industry, I did not have any tattoos on my arms, on my chest, nothing. Why? Because I was afraid. I knew I didn't make it yet to the point to where if I got on stage with tattoos, people would judge me. I was already hard as it was. I still wore a hat just like this. It was backwards. It wasn't front. It wasn't this like this. I was a black male dental hygienist. And we're not going to get into all of that stuff, but let's just call it what it was. I'm a 1%er in the industry, probably less than 1% at the time, right? And I'm an entrepreneur. That's, oh my gosh, and I'm not quiet. I'm not introverted. I like music. However, I am a respectful person. I help everybody. I am not better than anyone. I've treated everyone with respect. I did nothing wrong. However, I still got like blackballed and the door shut on me time and time again. And I felt like I would go into the room, Brian. I would go into rooms and I was singing my song, same tune, singing my song. And nobody would look up. So I'm like, man, does nobody like my song? Nobody would look up. And so I go into a different room, singing my song. Nobody look up. I'm like, gosh, I'm going to keep being my authentic self. That's all I know how to do. I can't fake it and change the station. So I go into a different room, sing my song. Nobody looks up. So eventually I just said, you know what? I'm going to go and build my own room. So I went and I built my own room. And I opened the door to my room, and guess what? A lot of people in all these rooms, they started filling up my room. They started filling up my room, and I was singing my song. I didn't turn up my station. I didn't turn up the volume. I didn't change the station. I didn't change my tone. I didn't scream. I was singing my song. I kept singing my song, and, I said, listen, this is me. This is my authentic self. So I'll just keep on singing my song. So I continue to sing my song. My room filled up. Brian, my room filled up. I took the door off the hinges. I didn't want anybody to ever have to feel like they had to knock on my door, and I would never close the door in somebody's face and have to deal with what I had to deal with. And what I did was I taught the people in the room to go and build their own homes. I taught them to go build their own homes. And then all of a sudden, I started going in those homes that I built. I helped build, right? And all of a sudden, I go in the rooms, I would sing my song, and everybody's clapping and looking up. The hard part, though, is now I go into every room, and everybody's clapping. I don't know who's for me, who's against me.
I hear you. No, I understand that. That's very interesting.
And
Yeah.
it's my story. And I'm going to tell you that I now get on stage. If I want to wear a bow tie, I wear a bow tie because I want to. If I want to show my tattoos, it's because of the shirt I'm wearing that day. It's not because I wanted to show it or I didn't. If I want to wear a hat, it's almost always staying on just like this. I wear jewelry, but it feels good to be your authentic self. If you're your authentic self, you never have to fake it for anybody. And so when I show up, it's the same me. And I don't have to remember what I said to you. I don't have to remember my dialect or my tone or how I should present myself when I'm talking in front of the Dr. Bryan Laskin. No, I'm going to come to you as you because I'm me and I love you for you. And I would hope that you love me for me as my authentic self. And I feel that's how everybody should be. So at my events, I make it very clear. I don't care how much money you have, how many CEOs that you have. If you just started your career, if you're a student, if you're an influencer that has 1 million people following you, if you just started your influencing day, I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. We're all equal, but you should show up as your authentic self. And I'm going to tell you, as soon as that happens, everybody puts their guard down and we can all dance together. We can laugh together without covering our mouth. We can dance without worrying about how we're dancing. It's just a whole different environment. And so I've been singing this same song that's just like I just told you now since I've been in this industry and doing some things, and it's working out. So now it's easy. It's not hard anymore, right? I just don't know who's clapping with me and who's not.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I'm wondering, you know, because it sounds like because you are 1%er, right? That you were almost forced to be authentic because you couldn't hide it. Do you feel like there's people out there that are trying that? Some people, it's easier for them to blend in, so it's harder for them to be not harder. They're not pushed to be as authentic, and it's not helping them, right?
Yep. I hear what you're saying. So yes, I was put into this 1% spot by birth. Some of it.
Well, just being a male hygienist is uncommon, right?
Yeah.
So it's right. I mean, and also an entrepreneur who's a hygienist. That's uncommon, right?
Super
so
uncommon.
it's not like you were just like you were born into this. You mean you chose a career path, and just being who you are, you were like, I'm different than the average hygienist in dentistry, right?
Right.
And
right.
and I guess I'm saying this because there's probably there's uncommon is people being uncommon is relatively common, right? So there's a lot of people out there who fit into one version of a 1%, right? But then there's also people who are probably feel like because they're not part of a 1% group, maybe they're in the 80% group, that they don't want to look like they're in a 1%.
Yes, that makes sense.
Is that fair to say?
Very fair to say. There's also people that are in the 80% group that speak up about some idea that they have or wear clothes different, louder, maybe expose something, get tattoos, that they wear anything a certain way or they do something that's different and they're ridiculed for it and they're told to shh. And it puts them in this place where they're never going to be able to be their authentic self. They're told to hush and they're told that something wasn't good enough, essentially. And so they decide at that point that they're not going to come out of that room, or they're not going to come out of their shell anymore. And they can be in that 80%, the 99%, essentially. So, yes, I am in that 1% group, but there's a whole bunch of characteristics and things that have happened to me that happened in the same 99% group. But I just kept on pushing and pushing, and I didn't ever change. I stayed the exact same because I didn't ever try to fake it. That's the key of everything, is just not trying to like please somebody or like suck up to someone. Just like coming and presenting as me. And because people can sense that.
100%. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is by Rick Rubin, the music producer, who said, "The best art divides the audience," right? Like if you're not repelling somebody, you're not attracting anybody, right?
Yes.
And so, and I mean, it's it's not the exact same concept as authenticity, but it's not, but it's helpful to understand. I think if you are being your authentic self and you're getting detractors, that everybody that gains, that everybody that's going to have a magnetic personality and be their authentic self, I think initially is going to get detractors.
Yes.
Is that true?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. And and also another really super powerful thing to know is that being your authentic self is not for everyone. And that's one of the hardest pills that I had to swallow. You're not supposed to be for everybody.
Gotcha.
And I am a people pleaser. It hurts when people don't like me, especially when you don't do anything. Like if you're a good person, you know you're good. I know I'm a good person. I'm a good person. I don't think I'm the best at everything that I do, but when there's these things that make you a good person. Are you kind to people? Are you good to people? Are you good to your wife? Are you a good dad? Do you give back? Are you a truthful person? Are you high integrity? All of them are. That's me. And when people still just don't like you, it hurts to the core. So somebody that is authentic, even me, I preach authenticity all the time, right? The hardest hurdle for me to overcome was accepting that even though I am as authentic as I can be and as kind as I can be, that there still will be people who will not like you.
Yeah, that I can see how, because I don't have that gene where I care what other, like I don't care what other people think personally, right?
I do.
That's which I'm not saying that's not better or worse. It's just, you know, I got plenty of other crosses to bear, right? But I don't have that, so I can see how for like a connector like yourself who's authentic and kind and like to be like, well, what's wrong? Like, why isn't this clicking? Right.
Yeah.
And it's just never going to click 100% of the time. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
But accepting it, being like, okay, that's fine. Like, and it's not like, I don't give a crap, because I do, but accepting it and being okay with it. Like that was the final version of like being good. It's like, all right, authentic self. It was hard to keep doing it, keep being authentic. Right now it's easy. It's real easy. And now I tell everybody, like, do it, keep doing it. And then it'll become easy. And then it's all the way you're good. But then the final step is accepting that even though you're authentic, even though you do right, there's still going to be people that are not for you. And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to one thing that we glossed over, which is, oh, I just built my own house. Right. Which is what makes you the entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So because I know what it takes to do what you do, right? Because because I also am an entrepreneur, and there's a lot of people that say, oh, I want to do this, right? And but it's not that simple, right? So could you talk a little bit about, because I think of it as being authentic. If you take being on your authentic self and then building your own house around that, right? That they're both incredibly challenging, right?
Yeah.
So how did you go about building that house?
Yeah, so I built my house around everything that I love. I built a vertically integrated life. I built a vertically integrated lifestyle. I love music. I built a career around music. I DJ. I MC. I love hanging out around people and I love events. I created an event to do so. I love vacationing. I've been in 6 countries in the past year being a dental DJ that happened to go on cool things like Groove Cruise. And, you know, now I'm entrepreneur organization DJing and emceeing at Nerve and, you know, Pod Fest, POD, not Pod Fest, right? You know, but I built a vertically integrated life to where, right, you like cruises, build a cruise business. You like, you know, events, build an event business. You like entrepreneurs, build a business where you're raising them, you know, $1 million+ and you're helping them. You like throwing parties, do it in an event. So I've built a vertically integrated life that allows me to make a living doing every single thing I love. That's my house. That's my house that I built. That's my home that I built. My home is the ship. I rent my ship out when I do my Smiles at Sea cruise. That's my home. My home is in New Orleans at the Crown Plaza Hotel. It might just be for a weekend, but that's my home. I just went to Dubai and did Destination Unknown for entrepreneurs. My home was at the Hyatt for a weekend. I built my home as my business. It's a vertically integrated business. Everything feeds itself and I live within it. I'm paid to do what I'm obsessed with.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's great and inspiring on so many different levels from what you said. And so if there's people out there that are thinking about, I'm inspired, right? I want to be my authentic self. I want to build my own home, whatever that looks like to them, right? Any last tips you have for them?
Yeah, give early. Give early. Don't wait till your cup is overfilling. I've seen so many memes and messages about wait till your cup is filled to fill others. Nope. Fill it early. Fill other people's cups. Help people fill their cup early. Don't wait. Start now. Start giving and don't worry, oh, I'm not going to be able to provide for myself. You'll be able to provide. I built my entire career from building other people up. My career went in hyper growth mode when I focused on other people and left myself as last. I eat last. That's what my last message is. Give back and give it soon.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Elijah. Now, it seems a little unnecessary to say where can people find you because you are everywhere, my friend. But if they do want to find out about Dental Pitch, Smiles at Sea, the Dental Festival, Dentistry's Got Talent, all the great work that you do, where should they go?
ElijahDesmond.com is probably the easiest way, or just type my name in to Google or any social media network. It's me. I don't have an executive assistant that's responding. It's Elijah Desmond on all networks. Type it in and you'll be able to reach me and happy to help anybody in any capacity. That's what you'll get.
Well, thanks for all you do, my friend. And thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Bryan.